not enough time, so I think we've got time for, what, 2 or more questions? Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we'll do lightning round, quick question, quick answer.
Yeah, so I'm Naveen Mandava, founder of IMAX program. We provide personalized learning in schools, which is a hard problem anywhere in the world. We do this by focusing on the feedback loop in the school organization. Right now, we are a profitable organization. We work with more than 300,000 students in 800 schools. The question that I had for you, based on your where you are located, your ability to look into the future, what valuable education company is nobody building right now?
I think education is one, and I'm going to be brutally honest and direct. You don't ever use the word honest. That implies that other times I'm not. But let me be very direct. Every government leader in the world says she or he is committed to education. Most of them are not, including in the U.S. We underfund our children's future, etc. However, there's about to be a market inflection point here, because you're going to have social unrest if we don't train our young people to be able to get jobs. And then when they, quote, graduate, they really aren't trained for jobs, they aren't job ready, and then they don't get jobs. That's going to be a problem. So I think there's an inflection point coming in education. That's also because I follow the VC money. I watch where they're putting their money, and usually they get trends right. Education and healthcare, which I would not have bet on 5 or 6 years ago, starting to be very interesting in terms of the approach. The key is, how do you teach for the future, not the past? Don't teach in a way that that teacher could have taught me many, many decades ago. You want to teach with animation, action figures, excitement, and outcomes. And then you want to make it differentiatable. And you want to go for profits early. And then you want to pick your pilot states or your pilot cities with somebody who is passionate about education. Really passionate. Doesn't say it. Really walks the talk.
Sorry, he has a microphone, so I'll give you a chance right after that.
Hi, John. This is KK Jain this side. I run a startup called as AnytimeLoan.in. We are India's #1 peer-to-peer lending platform, wherein we enable people to make and take money on the go. That's what we use. We are a 100% paperless, presenceless, contactless, and digital lending platform. So my question for you is very simple. For a startup like us, which is profitable in India's #1, what do you value the most, paying customers or paying venture capitalists? Who is more valuable?
Paying customers or paying?
Venture capitalists.
Oh, paying customers. Yeah, I never lose track. You know, when customers will pay for something, you've got a value add. Then the key is, how do you scale? The venture capitalists will find you if you've got a good product and you're growing.
Thank you.
Yes, you've got the mic. Go ahead. I'll come to you in just a second. Yeah.
She does this pretty well, don't you all think? I mean, you've got a future in business. Never mind the broadcast. You and I can pick out which companies you want to invest in here.
I run a startup called Nemo Care Wellness, where we are trying to build an IoT-based platform for using wearable sensors to gather vital sign data. And we use AI to analyze that data to be able to give local alarms and immediate alarms at across disease states. And we analyze those that data to be able to predict future diagnosis of further diseases down the line, especially for neonatal and maternal care. And we are trying to make all this affordable and high-resolution monitoring for emerging markets.
I like that.
Yes. So my question to you is, it kind of got partly answered in the previous one, but medical tech space, especially in India, it's not, the ecosystem for investing is not very high. We run on grants right now, and we apply to, like, we just got funded by Gates Foundation to be able to do that. But how do you make it, how does it stand on your priority, and especially medical tech startups which measure not just on profits but also on social impact? How do we build a system?
So what I see on medical tech specialists, but also see in terms of venture capital starting to invest, is they're starting to invest in these areas now, which they mean there's a market coming, either because of the youth, like here in India, where you have such a young population, a lot of kids are going to be born over the next 2 decades, or in many countries like China or the US, or especially Europe, an aging population. How do you take care of that population? This is one that government can play a huge role in helping you or killing you, and making it much easier, much less complex, because government used to get measured by don't let anything bad get into the market, even if thousands of people died that could have had a benefit if that had gotten in the market. And this is where I think being able to speak to small groups on what has to change becomes very key. I know it's an issue even at the very large companies with the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership Forum. What are the processes for approval of medical type devices in care? So I haven't got a crisp answer to it, It's one that I might ask for you to follow up with my team on it, and I might try to, send it to the right person in government.
The last question, yes.
Now, one thing I've learned, you never say last question. Because if the last question isn't good, it doesn't allow me to summarize, I take one more question. So I already say one or two questions. If this is really good, not to put any pressure on you, I'm summarizing on your comment. If it isn't good, think of something over here. Not to put any pressure on you.
Okay, thanks for releasing and putting the pressure. Okay, so I'm Sahil from an organization called Build the World. The idea is to enable a common man to do good for the society. So it started when I used to work with Cisco in a team called Inclusive Growth under Wim Elfrank, and we wanted to take quality education, healthcare and skills to rural areas across the world. And Cisco was finding it difficult to take it because the ecosystem is so fragmented. So if Cisco is finding it difficult, I was thinking, how can a common man think about changing the world? And that's where we are trying to bring all organizations on the same platform, including governments, corporates, schools, colleges, non-profit organizations. We are bringing even slums, villages, government schools online so that people can see what problem they are facing and they can adopt them. So the idea is to go scale across the world and make it interesting where people can start their initiatives, put the interesting ideas into something called Impact Idea Store, where they can be replicated with the click of a button. My question here is that as you see the idea is big, some people say you scale it before you nail it before you scale it, and some people say you have to be fast enough, is the fastest fish that eats the slow fish. So that's where we are struggling a lot. We're working with Stanford, UCL in the US, working with the government of Netherlands, and also what we miss is a great mentor. So even like Cisco with this, I also missed it, that how can I do that? And I would request you if you can mentor us, that would be fantastic as well.
Sure. So make no mistake about it, in your all's industry, it's all about speed. Now, I said that 2 decades ago, except the speed this time is 3 to 5 times faster. And 2 decades ago, I could pick my competitors off of 3 or 4 cities in the world. Today, your competitors can come from anywhere in the world. And so how you grow is all about speed. If you wait until you have everything built into your product that you need to be successful, you're going to get past. So you want to pick what really is important to your customers that they will pay you for and that you can grow together with them. And I'd be careful not to scale too quickly. Secondly, don't waste a lot of your really important engineering on something you don't add sustainable differentiation. The comment about touch, the comment about voice, the comment about smartphones. Smartphones is how the majority of young kids, again, including my, what was a 2-year-old granddaughter using a smartphone and busting her mother's code, and I go early admissions at Stanford or IIT, and my son says every 2-year-old does that. You want to be able to use commonality of products that are already there because then you can scale quicker. So I would not waste a lot of time in trying to develop a, quote, best user interface device. I'd say, how do you allow the devices out there, especially the existing platforms, and how do you put value on top of them as you go forward? Didn't answer your question entirely, but it is a great one to summarize on. Your all's role, vision and strategy for your company. Management team to develop that vision and strategy, including changing some of the people who start with you who may not be able to scale. If you change them and move them aside early enough, they stay with you. If you wait too late, you lose them and you slow your company down. Culture is key. Communication skills are key. I think you are the future of this country. It is so much in your Prime Minister's view on how this happens, and I think you can be the example of where this job creation will occur for all 1.2 million new people coming in the market every month. So it's been a rush for me to be with you today. You and I tag team pretty well.
Thank you, John Chambers. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us here, mentoring our young techs, and thank you for summarizing the do's and don'ts of what they should be focusing on. We appreciate your time, and I do hope that that some of them will make it to your list of companies that you will back in India and provide your mentorship. But thank you very much, and congratulations to all of you, and thank you very much for joining us here. John Chambers, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Bye.